Hey, if you want to discover how you can overcome the fears associated with the process of starting an online business from scratch, stick around and watch today's video through until the very end, as I'm about to share with you the single thing that you have to overcome and get clear on in any area of life, whether it's an online business or anything else, in order to overcome your fears, get yourself into action, and start producing maximum results. As always, if this is your first video, my name is Misha Wilson, and over the course of the last few years, I've done now nearly $20 million in total sales. And I've dealt with a bunch of different fears that I've had to overcome in order to go ahead and produce that result. And in today's video, I want to share with you the one thing that I do to help me overcome my fears, get into results, and then continually keep producing results in the future. With that said, if you get value, don't forget to let me know in the comments section below what your biggest takeaway is from this video. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that bell icon notification button so that you're notified when I do more videos just like this. With that said, let's go ahead and dive right in.
Welcome to the Misha Wilson Show, where we show you how to create massive success online so you can enjoy the lifestyle of your wildest dreams.
All right, so again, what we're going to be talking about here today is the topic of fear, and specifically how you can overcome fear so that you can start getting results in your business. And the reason that I wanted to talk about this is because, with our company, we've generated nearly 70,000 customers, and that's just in the last few years. And we've had a bunch of people get started with our coaching and mentorship programs, both virtual and in-person coaching mentorship programs, group and one-on-one settings. And I've found over and over and over again in working with clients that the single or one of the biggest factors that keeps people back from going ahead and hitting their goals, achieving success, and getting into results is the thing that paralyzes so many people in so many different areas of life, that being fear. All right, there's fear of loss, there's fear of judgment, there's fear of failure, there's fear of being perceived as, in some negative light, what other people will think about them. And all of these fears, when starting an online business, kind of end up combining into one, right? You're afraid of loss, you're afraid of being perceived of as dumb by your family and friends because they're doubting you. You're afraid of putting yourself out there and not getting results. All of those fears kind of end up combining as one to become kind of this ultimate fear, if you will, that keeps people from taking the action steps that they should take, keeps people from putting themselves out there the way that they know that they need to, keeps people from essentially doing the things that if they did would get them the results, which would in turn help to alleviate the fear, keeping them stuck in this loop of constant fear, not taking action, creating more fear, which, again, just perpetuates the cycle and keeps them from ever going ahead and producing results. And so because of that, I obviously want to share the thing that I always come back to when I'm dealing with fear, and I still deal with it to this day. Every single leader in the industry, every single person you're looking up to, they absolutely do deal with fear. It's not that they don't deal with it, it's more about how they respond to it and how they react to it, and the fact that they get themselves to take action in spite of fear instead of letting it stop them in their tracks. So the one thing that I do when it comes to fear, no matter what the fear, is really look at the worst case scenario. All right, so if you are afraid of losing a little bit of money, right? What's the worst case scenario? Maybe you do the thing that you're afraid of losing money when you do, and you actually, everything goes wrong, you end up losing that money. What's the worst case scenario? Well, you lose the money and you can always make that money back, right? What's the worst case scenario if you get in business and you get to a point where you're profitable and your business ends up failing? Well, you can always start from scratch and you can always grow another business, right? Literally, if you look at the amount of entrepreneurs who have gotten successful, lost a business, failed, and then come back from it, it's an astonishingly high percentage of everyone who's been in the business world. Now, I'm not recommending it, but I'm pointing out that you can absolutely come back from it. What if you're afraid of making an investment because that investment might not go perfectly the exact way that you want it to go, right? What if you make the investment and it doesn't go perfectly and you end up losing a little bit of money there? Yes, absolutely. It's not going to feel the best, but you can always end up coming back from it. And the thing that I see over and over and over again is that people essentially tend to look at the worst case scenario in a much more negative light than it actually is, right? Worst case scenario, unless you're dying or unless you have a family member dying if something goes wrong, or unless you're left in a place where literally you are out on the streets and you have no way to go ahead and get back even close to on your feet to start producing, in general, the worst case scenario really ain't that bad, right? People are afraid of doing videos like this. Well, what's the worst case scenario when you go ahead and do a video like this? If you really get clear on it, maybe you look a little bit goofy on the video, which I still do to this day, right? Maybe your words don't come out just perfectly. Maybe a few people are gonna be haters, which guess what? Even if you do the video perfectly, people are gonna end up being haters. And maybe you don't end up making any sales. All of those things, not that bad, right? So get yourself out there, do the video anyway, realize that the worst case scenario really isn't that bad. No matter what happens over here, worst case, you can always come back from it, execute, start that process of doing those videos, and sooner or later, you won't deal with that fear, right? What if you have a fear around writing an email to send an email to your list? We have this with people who we work with sometimes. There's this fear of, oh my God, if I email my list or if I email my list too often, someone's gonna get mad on my email list. They're gonna unsubscribe or they're gonna send me hate mail. I can't email my list, right? Well, what's the worst case scenario if that ends up happening? You get someone pissed off on your list, they send you hate mail, they unsubscribe, they say that you're the worst, and guess what? You dealt with an internet troll, you essentially don't let them take any of your time, don't let them take any of your attention, and you go back to mailing your list understanding that the worst case scenario just happened and it literally affected you in zero way, shape, or form. All right, and so this is what I do with every single one of my fears. When I'm dealing with a fear, right? When we throw a live event, there's always the fear in the back of everyone's mind when they throw a live event, whether they're telling the truth or not. Who knows, but I can guarantee you that every single person who throws a live event has the fear in the back of their mind of, holy crap, what if I host a live event and no one ends up coming, right? We've all felt it when we've done live events. And for myself personally, I had to get to the point where, look, if I host a live event and no one comes, it'll be the best, 5-person event ever, right? Instead of having 200 people there, we'll have 5 people. It'll be the best 5-person event ever. And guess what? I might lose a little money, but I will get through it. My ego will be a little bit hurt, but still, it'll end up being fine. And we actually had an event at one point in my journey where we had a big goal of getting 150 people in the room when I was first getting started in the online world. And we ended up getting about 25 people in the room. And the whole process felt really painful when I was going through it with the promotion because it wasn't working the way I thought it was supposed to work. I had set this blueprint, this outcome that I thought should happen, and that didn't happen. So that was this painful experience, but by the time the event actually started, the event ended up being one of the most enjoyable events that I ever did, one of the most fun events when it comes to working with the participants in a very intimate fashion, and actually an extremely profitable event because I ended up making a relationship and kind of forming a relationship at that event that literally is still going to this day, which drives profits for our business. And so if you can get clear on, look, what is the absolute worst case if you do the video, if you write the email, if you do the Facebook Live, if you host the event, if you host the webinar and no one shows up, which are all of the different things that people are afraid of in our industry, if you can get clear on the worst case scenario and then understand, well, guess what? That ain't that bad, right? It then takes a bunch of the fear away and allows you to act in spite of the fear. The fear isn't just going to disappear. The fear isn't just going to instantly alleviate. The fear isn't just going to instantly, be completely and totally gone. It'll still be there, But once you have the understanding that, okay, I can execute in spite of this, it then becomes much easier because you understand that, look, if everything goes wrong, I'm still gonna be fine. And if everything goes right, I have this big upside, I have this big gain, which once again, that's what you're always weighing, right? Is it worth the potential upside if everything goes wrong? Now look, if there are certain situations where potential upside is my business grows by 5%, potential downside is that I literally lose everything because I'm making a really dumb decision that has way too much risk, then don't make the decision, right? The art is to be able to look at the absolute worst case, and in most cases, if the worst case happens, you'll be totally fine. And then identify the few times where if the worst case happens, you will not be fine, and then don't take those action steps where if the worst case happens, you will not recover from it, and long term, you can create success and then keep success over the course of years. So with that said, I hope you got some value out of this video. If you did, don't forget to let me know in the comments section below what your biggest takeaway was, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that bell icon notification button so that you're notified when I do more videos just like this. Till next time, over and out.